Boom! What's up, y'all? In this video, we're going to try our dangest to break this red dot. We're going to take this big Mahusa freaking hand cannon. We're going to see if we can't thread some projectiles through 32 inches of ballistic gel. It's going to be a real-world test at 50 yards, because what am I going to try to do with this thing? Well, quite frankly, before I blow this Optic all to pieces, I pretty much want to put some meat in a freezer with my 500 Magnum here. This is the 10.5-inch Performance Center from Smith & Wesson. And so far, this thing has proved to be an enjoyable piece. I've shot the crap out of it. And of course, I'm putting an Optic on it after we've already, from recoil, blown the iron sight off of it. So let's go ahead and make those purple-haired cubicle dwellers at YouTube mad and give you an up-close look at this thing. And boom, here it is. We are in ready-to-carry configuration. I'm going to use the word Mahusive today. This thing is so Mahusive, it's hard to get the whole thing in frame. Of course, this is a custom Kydex holster that I've had made. My buddy Brandon at Little Bits Custom Creations made this, and we had several considerations in mind. I knew I wanted to put an Optic on it, so we put a cut here for our Optic, and that cut actually serves dual purpose. This gun has a 10.5-inch barrel, so pulling it up would cause you to have to raise your elbow way above your head to get it to clear. Well, that Optic's cut actually gives you a place to drop in, so you're not elbows to the sky. Now, here is the Optic we are going to test and abuse. That is the Primary Arms RS-10. Do understand that this is not going to fit your Smith & Wesson right out of the box. Smith & Wesson was so brilliant when they put this Picatinny rail on here that they cut the grooves to be more like Weaver. So if you take an Optic that's meant to fit Picatinny, it's not going to drop right on here. What we wound up doing was we took our clamp screw here, hopefully that's the right word, it's the screw that works for the mounting clamp. We put it in the lathe and machined a few thousandths off of it until that thing dropped in nice and tight. That way this thing won't move. Even when the set screw is not torqued down, it doesn't rattle back and forth. So it's a pure custom fit. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the specs right here. You can pause them and read them. And also you can see that this thing only weighs a little bit over an ounce. So putting it on a 4.5-pound chunk of stainless steel is not going to hurt anything. All this thing has to do is hang on for dear life and not blow its guts out one day. Now this Cerakote that's on here was done by Liberty Bell Firearms in Bluffton, Indiana. I had fired this thing so much that the stainless steel was perma-burned. Literal perma-burned. Now this Cerakote is actually starting to burn, which it is applied by heat. The blast from this 500 Magnum is just too much. So I went ahead and sighted this thing in with the Hornady Custom. This is a 300 grain FTX. Their box says that it's doing 2,075 feet per second at the muzzle and 1,885 feet per second at 50 yards. So that's going to be real world. All right, pick the blocks up, and boy, that gives me all kinds of confidence to use this thing for handgun hunting. Because if I can place that projectile down a 6x6-inch tunnel of gel from the truck down there, I should be able to do this to a whitetail all freaking day long. Man, that's a thing of beauty. Right there's our projectile. We're right at the 31-inch mark because this is two 16-inch blocks, 6x6x16. Now check it out. Right when we come in, we pedal off quite a bit, so we did lose some weight right there, but we got a pretty devastating looking wound channel. There's our ballistic tip for that FTX. We got a little bit of fragmentation there, and now it would have left the block if it weren't for that deck board. You can see where it trailed the bottom and just barely stuck. Now I had some of these from a long time ago. This is the Black Butterfly ammunition. This is their 300 grain turbo saw. Now this is a maker's bullet. That maker's bullet, they make these things all copper and they cut them. These things absolutely flay out. I watched one of these in 308 take a whitetail last year, and he didn't have as much as a wiggle left in him. Yes, I finally freaking caught one. That is going to be so cool to dig out. But you can look how we're grouping. Look right there, 50 yards, 3 rounds touching almost. I'm not going to complain. Well, I'll be danged. There are cattle out here. Look at that, right where I was shooting from. So here are our recovered projectiles. Let's go ahead and check these out. Now this one right here was your Hornady Custom 300 grain FTX. Boy, that thing mushroomed out very nicely. It made it to the 31-inch mark. Now we lost quite a bit off of it. Of course, there's the little polymer tip that was in the ballistic gel. It looks like it sanded it down or melted it down before it deposited it. Of course, you can see this bottom ring here from where the hollow point once was. And I'm not around my scale, but I'll go ahead and put the retained weight here. And there is our recovered turbo saw. It lost a pedal, but the pedal was right there with the main body, so that whole 300 grains made it where it was going. Of course, these things, as they expand, they still have some spin on them. And I'd imagine that these right here were probably what was causing me to drive out of the gel. And I'm just tickled to death to finally catch one. But the fact that I'm able to put multiples in a 6x6 gel block tickles me to death. That means that this is absolutely a suitable round for hunting. Being able to repeat that over and over again, that is what you owe that animal. So I don't have any calipers with me, so here is the expanded diameter, and here is the weight. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that was a successful experiment. I'm able to take this thing, and at 50 yards, I'm able to thread a projectile through a 6x6 inch tunnel of ballistic gel. As far as I'm concerned, that is so much more of a real-world test than shooting paper. And it's actually a little bit more difficult than shooting an animal, because when you're shooting an animal, you're looking at it three-dimensionally and you're aiming to the exit. Well, with this, I am literally trying to thread a projectile through 32 inches of gel, and I have done so successfully. So that leaves me very, very confident in this setup, and I'm pretty sure that I am going to have a really good time out in the woods with it this year. And of course, the whole time I was waiting on this Optic to come loose and dislodge, I was wearing these gaiters. These gaiters I wear have got Ballistic. They're ANSI rated, really nice lenses, so if that Optic did blow apart, my eyes would be protected. I've got a discount code in the link below. And of course, if I could bring your attention to the Linktree links down below, if you could go browse through those before you do your shopping, before you get your scope and your camouflage and all of those other things, you can help the channel by literally spending nothing more than you're already spending. You can use the manufacturer's money, as I make it's somewhere around 3 to 5% off of most of them. So it'd be a really easy way for you to support the channel. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have, please consider subscribing. Smash that thumbs up. It's a free, cheap, easy way to signal to YouTube that you like this video. But until the next video, I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you, and I love my new setup right here. I'm tickled.